DreamHack Open is brought to you by Astro, Monster Energy, Corsair, Hacks, and GGBet.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to DreamHack Summer. That's right, we're back for another stop of this historic Counter-Strike event, and we're coming to you live from one of the beating hearts of Counter-Strike itself, Jönköping, Sweden. We even have a bit of a crowd already here in the wonderful hall that we're in the Elmia Convention Center, and that is the trophy on stage right now that our 18 from across the world will be battling it out for the rights to raise above their heads. And of course, the lion's share of $100,000. My name is Parla and I will be your desk host for the duration of this event. And I'd like to say a big shout out to Astro, Corsair, Monster Energy, and Hacks. Thank you very much for making this possible. As always, I'm joined by some more than qualified individuals to my left, starting with Jacob, also known as Pimp, and Dust, also known as Dust. Great to see you guys. How's it going?
It's great to be here. Had a little bit of a rough going up here. I boarded the wrong ferry. I thought it was going yesterday, and I was not, so I spent an extra day here in Sweden.
All right, so Jacob decided to join us via boat. Dust, how was your journey?
I just took the traditional plane route. You know, just flew over.
From where exactly?
Good old Alabama.
Good old Alabama. How
Yeehaw.
are things down south at the moment?
Hot. Just like here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well, it's great for you guys to be joining us. And are you excited for the DreamHack Summer ahead of us?
Yeah, I look very much forward to it. I think we have a very interesting composition of team going into this one. There's many contenders to take the trophy. Obviously, we have the big favorites in terms of North going into this event, trying to redeem themselves after a rough start with Cabby to the lineup. So I think there's a lot of great storylines that we can pick up on, and especially in this first game, we're going to see how well North is faring in DreamHack.
Indeed. Dust?
Yeah, I mean, I think that every team in this event should feel pretty good about their chances. Like, I don't think anybody should be thinking, oh, this team's like clearly the favorite to win the whole event. Like, that's going to be us as an underdog against them. No, everyone should feel like this is wide open, other than North, who I think feel responsible for having to keep this uptick going that they've been having. They need to capitalize on it, I think.
Well, let's get the groups up on screen and we can show everybody at home which 8 teams are competing here for our pleasure. It's Group A, North, Red Reserve, formerly known as Godsend, Ago, and Imperial. And then in Group B, we have Renegades, Optic Gaming, Gambit, and Complexity. It is actually a pretty stacked roster, and I would say a majority of these teams are going to be at a competitive level against each other for the title. And then we have a couple of underdogs as well.
They're all going to be dangerous, and that's what's going to be so interesting about this, Pala. I think we're going to have a lot of close matches. I think we're going to have a lot of matchups where we don't necessarily have, as you said, the clear-cut favorite, but where we have what they think to themselves is the favorite. So looking at Guts and now Red Reserve is definitely interesting as well. First event for them under a new organization, a team that's been playing better and better over the last 3 months. North as well, one of the big storylines of this event. They won the tour event. They're remaining or regioning DreamHack Master or DreamHack Open Championship right now. So I do feel we're going to see a lot of different varieties of this team, and I do think it's going to be a close one.
There's a lot of teams that are just like kind of piecing their rosters together. Like Complexity and Optic have only just gotten their 5 together, and they don't really have a lot of events under their belts yet. And we know that so far things haven't gone so well for them. So I think they're looking for this event to be an opportunity to kind of prove themselves, especially Optic. Like with the lineup they have on paper, they should be like in contention to win this event. Austin was very disappointing for them, so it'll be interesting to follow that story as well.
Well, let's jump into Group A and also start focusing on this upcoming match. We're starting off DreamHack Summer 2018 with North, Danish powerhouses, versus Imperial, an international roster. And then on the other side of their bracket, we have Ago, the Polish, technically up-and-coming team overall, but who have established themselves as the
the best team in Poland right now.
They definitely are.
Strongest force in Poland right now, and they will be going up later today against Red Reserve. Again, remember, they were formerly known as Godsend, and that change just happened a few days ago.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, Garten was formerly owned by the Refresh Entertainment,
Indeed.
you know, being part of Astralis, being part of whatever else they had, Heroic. So it's interesting to see them move on now from that very structured setup they have in Refresh, and now into something more loose, where they can take care of themselves.
Dust, North versus Imperial. Let's start, you know, getting the juices flowing before we get into the map vetoes.
I mean, I got my juice flowing this morning, so, you know,
Oh,
I'm already
okay.
good to go.
Dust,
So we're talking
cheeky.
about maps right now, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, okay, just making sure. So when we look at the map picks, I would expect like North to typically stray away from Cache like they always do. For Imperial, I expect them to stray away from Nuke, and I think that we probably should be settling somewhere in the Inferno Mirage area. There's also an outside chance for a Dust 2 here, but I feel like that's kind of the direction that we're headed.
Yeah, we did see them play Dust 2 at Tour. In fact, they also played the first group stage match against each other back at that event, and that was a very close one. I think Imperial had a great first half, going up 11-4, something like that, forced North to go into a comeback. So I would not necessarily be too scared away from Dust 2 if I were Imperial.
Okay, exactly. To remind everybody at home, whilst we have the veto coming up on screen, this exact best-of-1 match happened at DreamHack Tour, which North went on to win both that match and also the entire tournament. And it was on Dust 2. It was quite close fought, but the first half was very much in favor of North, if I remember correctly. And they didn't quite close it out until it ended up 16-14. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that exactly right, but yeah, it ended up being very close. And I think it's a fair point that that Jacob raises. And we're not seeing Dust 2 today, we're seeing Train. Guys, talk us through that.
I think it's a great pick for North in sense of they don't want to allow Dust 2 in the mix, because if you look towards the Imperial lineup, it's a lineup of a lot of young players with a lot of inexperience, if you may say, a lot of puck players as well who likes to run around and do sort of stuff on their own, and Dust 2 is a map that allows that, whereas Train, it requires a lot more team play and a lot more structure as a team, something Imperial is not really known for having right now.
Right.
Going up against North, one of the most structured teams in the entire world, I would say, is it just like as a map layout, it's a great fit for North.
Yeah, let me just quickly correct myself. It was actually Imperial that swung up very quickly on that Dust 2 match. They went 12-3 up on the T side, and then it was North that swung it back. Anyway, Dust, back to you. Let's talk about...
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see
this in a bit
Train
more
come
detail.
through, actually. Just simply because it's probably one of Imperial's strongest maps in online play, at least, and they've actually never lost it offline either. They've played it like 5 times or something like that, whereas I feel like Train's only kind of recently been a map that North's really picked up on. I feel like with Cobblestone kind of coming out, which is a big strength of theirs, I think you have seen them start playing Train a bit more, because Train used to be a map they would kind of stray away from next to Cache a lot of the time. So I do wonder if they've left a little bit of a window open. I think they would have been much better in another map where I think they would have been like a clear favorite. I think they still are the favorite on Train, like you said, a little bit more of a tactic pro map. They have a way deeper playbook than Imperial is going to have with MSL, but it's still not like one of the tops at the top of their pool or anything like that. I think there's some other maps you would say that are more North maps than Train.
It is interesting, especially since it is North's first match coming into this one, and North is currently a team that is not playing the tournaments they should be playing. They're not going to the big major tournaments. We're not seeing them in Asia right now. We're not seeing them in Brazil. So they have had time home to practice, you know. So it is, as you said, interesting to see them picking Train into this one, and it suggests that they've been working on the Train and they've been trying to improve their map pool, which is something North needs in order to start competing against the very best again.
Exactly, Jacob. Let's focus in on North, who we can see sitting on stage right now, getting ready. Aside from Mertz, who knows where he is right now? Hopefully they do. Recent results, guys, for North. Star Series, they finished in 3rd place. Of course, prior to that, they were the champions of DreamHack Open Tour. And so they're a team that are currently finding form again, Dust, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, and it's definitely needed. I mean, I feel like they've had a really rough time under the North brand. The core of the team didn't really do a whole lot other than they haven't won a big international title under the North brand. It's never happened. Like, just some smaller events like Montreal last year. They had a couple of good events last year, like Masters Vegas was big for them. E-League Premier was big for them. They had that EPL finals in the middle of the year they were good on. But towards the end of last year, they really struggled. They went out in groups at that EPL, at like Season 6, I believe it was. They really tanked at Copenhagen games. Like, they were not looking good. It's really been since maybe March with Betsnet Masters up until now with Star Ladder and Tor kind of bolstering that Betsnet result that they finally started making some deeper playoff runs. And I think it's also kind of coincided that you've finally seen guys like Mertz and AZ like step up their individual forms. I feel like for a while the only piece they could trust was Valda to deliver for them on a consistent basis. But it seems like Kierby's getting back to his old form, and now AZ and Mertz are actually finally putting up numbers. And I think that's really been kind of the big difference maker for this team.
Yeah, there was a period recently where AZ was getting a lot of criticism because at one point he was very much a star player. For instance, maybe through 2015, at least
Dignitas
during the
days.
end period, and then getting on to phase, etc. He started to slow down. We're not exactly sure why, but recently with him resurging, I think they found North have been beginning to find their place again, along with the great leadership from MSL. Valda always consistently performing, and Mertz having some fantastic games as well.
Yeah, I definitely do agree, and then the whole AC conversation is an interesting one, because as you said, when I was playing with him in Dignitas in 2015, 2016, I would rate him as one of the best riflers in the entire world.
Sure.
That form has dropped off by a big margin now, but it seems like he's slowly but surely finding his place in North. It was a rough period for him ever since he joined Phased from Dignitas, but he's slowly getting back, and it's just interesting to see North. You know, they're on an upward trajectory right now, and it should be one of those events where they go in here, they make it clean, you know, they win the event, and move into another big event.
What was always scary for me is I felt like they gave AZ a bunch of different changes in roles where they tried to make him work, and it just never panned out. They even moved out guys like Magus, who's now doing great on Astralis, by the way, to try to make more room for AZ, and now it's only just beginning to start getting results. But now we're taking a look at Imperial, which is a team that had a big Copenhagen Games event, but really since then hasn't done much, and they've made a roster change, which brings in Crystal, who you're looking at on screen now, who comes in for Asilian. He's coming from Sprout. He's supposed to be the in-game leader for this team. But again, this is a team that, outside the youth of like Nokia and Esperano, who can sometimes put up numbers,
The youth,
they really don't have a whole lot going
the next
for them.
generation.
Yeah.
We must look to the future.
The next generation, you say, yeah. Main on your picture right now, Nexa is actually their best player, and one of the guys who's been performing very well over this Imperial lineup. One of the guys maybe who's been going a little bit under the radar. He was playing in Renegades, had to stay in North America. You got to watch him a lot over there. I got to practice against him. He was always one of those players you hated playing against, because you felt like whatever he was doing just didn't make sense. But I feel like he's one of those players who plays on sort of his own feeling. You know, he's maybe not the most team organized player, no, maybe not the best teammate in that way, but he does good for himself, you know, and he's always annoying to play against. And that's also something good to be said about having players like that on a team.
Yeah, how much does that sort of unpredictability from a player or a team factor in going up against a team led by a man known for his structure and his captaincy in the form of MSL?
It can be a good and a bad thing in two different ways. The good way to go about it is if he managed to be so unpredictable and so good at it, he can throw North off. You know, he can basically throw their structure off and force them to play into their game. You know, play a more pocky style. On the other hand, if you're good enough doing the structure style, if you are like an Astralis type of team who are just playing well fundamental Counter-Strike, you just close that down. He doesn't get any space to do his unorthodox moves, and he will just be a non-factor in the game.
Yeah, I think it is true that MSL's biggest struggles have usually come against looser style teams, like when they were having struggles at Hellraisers earlier in the year. I think it was because he couldn't really throw hard reads or counters against them because he didn't really know what to expect. They were just kind of wild and loose. Whereas I feel like a team like Imperial is definitely like a looser team, but they definitely still play on the default a lot. So it's not like they're going to be always doing these crazy, like, explosive executes that might catch you off guard. Like, they're typically going to have a couple of different openings that they always use, and so it's not going to feel too unfamiliar. And just in general, to go to the strengths of MSL, his playbook is just so much deeper than Imperial's is going to be. Like, he has way more complex executes than anything Imperial is going to be able to come up with, and he has more options, is the point. So that means based on what he's seeing in the game, he's going to have different design plays he can go to, whereas I feel like Imperial's not going to have that same level of adjustment.
To everybody at home, do not forget, if you'd like to vote in Twitch chat with regards to who you think is going to win, drop an exclamation mark followed by NOR for North and IMP for Imperial. You can also see live on screen our GG.bet odds as well, and North are the heavy favorites.
And it's fair enough. I would say North is going into this, not only this game, but this tournament, they should be considered as the heavy favorite for this one. They did win a tour, they did it in style, they won against Hellraisers. It was, again, you know, these open events are great showcasing of the new talent coming up and some of the teams that may be struggling a little bit finding the form. So it would be a good thing for North to come in here again, have a clean start to the tournament, and go in against the teams like Godsend or Red Reserve, they're called now, sorry.
Indeed.
And, you know, be able to perform, because that's what we need to see North. You know, if we want to see them up there within the top 5, within the top 10 teams in the world, they need to be able to win an event like this.
Yeah, Dust, I think it's fair to say on paper there is a clear favourite here, but also in terms of how the specific players stack up against each other. One player that we haven't really gone into in more detail on North is Kierby, and that is another person in their own right, a star, a guy that can fire off on all levels, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Kierby is like when he was teamed up with MSL, I would say like the early 2016 period when they were on Dignitas, it was like him and Config. and they were just monsters, and that's what really drove that Dignitas team forward at the early part of that year. Then you saw Kirby go to Astralis, and I thought his individual form there was actually quite good too. Unfortunately, I think he kind of put Dupree in disarray by joining that team. I think the roles didn't quite sync up. Now it syncs up great over there with him being gone. I was like, it was like a blessing that he left, actually, because the roles are so much better at Astralis. But on this team, he was meant to be that star player, like kind of like what he used to do, like pair up with MSL, be kind of an entry force, try to open up things for your team. But I feel like he had some growing pains at first, but it seems like now he's starting to kind of get back into a rhythm, but he's still not hitting the same monster numbers you used to remember him for. And I really feel like he should be the guy next to Valda for this team that is like your primary deliverer of frags. So he really needs to live up to that if North is going to jump from where they are now to actually being like a world contender of some sort.
Kirby's one of those
let me jump in quickly, Pimp, because we're approaching crunch time soon as this game is almost ready to lift off. And so let's lead into predictions. Dust, starting with you.
I think it should be North pretty one-sided. The only thing that scares me is that it is Train. I think on another map it would have been super one-sided, but I think here it's not going to be as bad, but I'd still say they win it comfortably.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with the Northern Lions as well. And now we're going to ask Pimp his 3 reasons brought to us by Hacks with regards to which team he thinks is going to win.
Yeah, I got you guys 3 reasons to why I think North is gonna smash Imperial and is this first matchup.
Smash!
Smash! They're gonna smash them, Pala. And the first reason is that they have MSL. He's an in-game leader and a dedicated in-game leader. He's been around for some age now. I remember bringing him into my team in Dignitas back in 2014. That was his first time he was ever in-game leading, and back then he was very green at the area. He was not too sure about how to do it. He was very uncomfortable in the position, but he's grown into one of the best in-game leaders in the world, and that is something that is very useful for a team like North right now when they're trying to build this team up once again from the bottom. So going up against Imperial, we just talked about it, Crystal being brought in as the new in-game leader. He's not really meant to be an in-game leader. He was at Sprout at times, and now he is in Imperial as well, but he's not like the I would say normal type of in-game leader. He's more like sporadic and a little bit more loose in it, whereas MSL is very structured. He wants his teams to run by his way. That is why I think North is going to win out big time on that area on the game. The second reason for why North is going to win this one is the fact that Imperial is sort of found in no man's land right now. They brought in Crystal, which is a great pickup. He's not a bad player at all, but it's not the same thing as they had before in terms of Asilian. Back then, they had a dedicated in-game leader as well.
You're not being biased towards your Danish brother, Asilian.
I'm not being biased at all. I'm just being honest right here, Fala. They had Asilian, who was also a dedicated in-game leader, not at the same level as MSL, but he was trying his absolute best to control these young starts in forms of Nukia and Esperanto, and that's something they need. These players are born in FPL, they're born in Faceit, they're running around playing puck style of Counter-Strike, and if they don't have any guidance, it's going to be a mess, and I don't think Crystal is the guy to do that for them. Third reason for why North is going to win this one is basically they're better at everything. They have the better AVP player, they have the better stars, they have the better rifles, they have the better organization behind them. North is going to crush Imperial because they're just better.
Wow, that is quite the
statement.
Yeah, quite the statement, quite the strong argument in favor of North from Pimp. Thank you very much for that. Now let's take a look at who you guys at home think is going to win this match. These are the results from the Twitch vote, and we have 73% in favor of North, leaving just 27 single numbers, percentages in favor of in favor of Imperial. Now let's get our casters involved. If I'm not mistaken, it's another Dane joined by a man from the US. Yeah. It is Risk and Blue. Guys, what's up?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Yeah, really good. I'm excited to see how this game is going to pan out. We're all in favor of North. What do you guys think?
I'd say everyone's correct so far. I think it's the same way. I think North should be able to take this one.
I wonder who Risk will pick. I'm really curious. What do you guys think?
I have to say, like, unless North have been tracking Train, which I don't know they could be, but I would say that Imperial has won the veto, but North is definitely going to win the game.
All right, well, Blue is going with North and Risk is going with Imperial. What a surprise. Anyway,
gotta look out for Tensky, of course, my man.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, so all 5 of us are going with North. Let's head over to you guys in the booth. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Paula. It's exciting to be here once again at DreamHack Summer as we get ready to jump into our opening match of the tournament now. Should be a good one indeed, but North is looking very, very strong, especially after some recent results that they had back at Starladder.
Yeah, just in general, North in the last 3 months, as I said on the desk, on an upward trajectory. Imperial, they're still struggling to find exactly the route of what they're going to do in the next couple of months, how they're going to build up from here. Getting Crystal on the full-on contract instead of just the loan as he was in the last LAN is definitely an upgrade. They have had some more prac time. When they played in Toro last time, that was a really bad showing for them, but this time around they had 2 months of prac time, almost 2 months of prac time with him. So I feel like this is where they can show a decent level. This is where they can show close to their true level with this lineup. And they need to bring like their A game here to just have a chance against North. But it's still best of one. It's trained. Like anything can happen.
Absolutely, and of course, as it is best of one, there is a lot on the line for it, so let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The opening match of the tournament, diving right into train between North and the Imperial. Winner will move on into the upper bracket final of the group. Loser will be coming back tomorrow to play in best of threes.
Already now, 2 smokes, 2 flashbangs, so both AZ and MSL. Usually we'd only see the in-game leader with that setup, but now they're all going towards the B bomb site. Could be an execute, smoke down lower, and then flash in, so Valde can get the entry with the P250, the raid bus setup.
North pretty much just going to go straight forward with a dive into the B-bombs. They might see 1 or 2 of their players flutter away to go for some action down towards the ladder, but not much worth in doing that on the pistol round. He does get himself a good angle, so he's at least able to delay them for a couple of seconds, but is taken down regardless when Mertz gets the push past him. He'll pick up that opening kill. Esperanto looking for a trade as he tries to find something, but it's actually Crystal that picks up the first exchange, and a clean second one being found from him as well as he knocks out Valde. Now Esperanto runs in, finds 2 more pickups, and just like that, it's Imperial with great control over the situation, and they're going to be able to secure it as they flank out AZ, eliminating the last man standing from North and giving Imperial control over the pistol.
Yeah, really nice long flank coming in from Esperanto. He was left unchecked going on that far left train, so he could come in and get a free frag onto Mertz specifically and then go onto the bomb site as well. So it seems like the whole structure behind getting the bomb site and getting into the post plant was perfect from North. They had the 2 smokes, 1 towards connector and 1 in the middle of the 2 trains, and flashbangs to go with it, so that's fine. The problem is when they get into post plant, it looked very destructured. This didn't look like a North post plant, so that's why I'm wondering what went wrong there. Like, did they not reach the post plant positions, or did people just mess up their duels?
Looks like almost to a certain degree they got caught off guard a little bit by that secondary push that came off from Esperanto that really kind of secured things for them. Next up, he's got himself a great position to quickly mop up the resistance here. He will get traded out by Valde, but Esperanto once again diving right in to make sure that doesn't go any further, and Crystal will finalize it with the last kill. A clean 2-0 start from Imperial, but of course, as you probably noticed, North did have the full save there as they're looking to buy on this round.
It's going to be the AK setup. And the only player that they can like potentially want to lose in this situation is the MP9 player, but he farms up like 4 kills. Loses the MP9, yes, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Like 3 kills still, but it's fine. They got 3 M4s, 2 FAMASas, and full nade setup, plus 4 kits as well. So this should be enough if they can play a good defensive to deal with what North has. But that's the problem. Like if you have players like Valde, for example, going entry, and Mertz will be the one opening up.
Crystal just stepping out a little bit too far there. She's going to give himself away. Tends to get his best to trade up the situation, and in fact succeeds in doing so. But he as well also going to fall to Valde, giving the North players a 4v3 advantage, although not the most dominant one with Valde being at 5 HP. Kirby, however, is the real story right now. Walks right in, and free rights to knock out Esperanto, giving his team another kill. Now it's 4v2. And if he continues on this path, he's got a good chance. Indeed he does. Kirby knocks out another player. This time Nexa goes down. Just Nuki to try and defend a 1v3 scenario here. And his first duel will immediately go down to AZ, giving North their first round of the game.
Yeah, really nice from North. So they stack a lot of players towards the Ivy to begin with. Double stack from the CT side, and then they get that opening. The second they get the opening, Kirby knows, okay, there's going to be a hole in the armor, and that's why he can go out of T-main unchecked. Having T-main control on the CT side, or just like knowing that they cannot push out, is so important. It will leave open gaps for Kirby to go every single time. So they need to block off that area and at least hold it, make sure that no one can cross without them knowing. That's a vital part of the defense for Imperial.
Immediate safe call from Imperial going into the 4th round now, as they're pretty much just going to take a full eco. Only Esperanto rebuying into armor and a CZ behind that. Everybody else, they're sticking with the default pistol, going for something light, like a Deagle sitting on Nuke alone, a P250 that is now on the ground from Tensuke. Already 2 players down as well, so it is a good thing they stuck with a light buy here. North is coming in strong with their entries once again, as they pretty much instantaneously take control of the outer bomb site. 1 player, Nexus sitting over here in the old bomb tunnel, tries to surprise a little bit, but sadly he's not going to be able to find much impact overall, and North still just walk over this outside take relatively easily, which is going to give them a second round here in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, very nicely done. Like, they take the second round AK buy, they really make it work. Even though it's a 50-50 scenario, they're up against good weaponry on the CT side. Due to good entries and good like game reading and timings as well, they make it work. This round is for free, as we can see. No one has died from the North side. Looking good, a little like shoulder tap from Ave, the coach behind North right now, to MSL. Just making sure that, yeah, everything is going to plan. Let's just keep on going.
Relatively straightforward affair right now for both teams starting this one off. Imperial unfortunately get upset in that third round. It was only 2 rounds that they wanted to start anyway, so that's nowhere near enough time to build up an economy. Had to go on to an immediate eco, and of course, now comes a bit of a rebuy from them as they're going to try to resist North taking over the game. And of course, the lead at a potential 3-2 scoreline if they take control of this round. At the start of the round, North pretty much just going to send most of their players through Whitehalls here. 4 grouped up with it, and the 5th is not too far behind either. So Crystal, he's got some big shoes to step into here if he ends up getting that mass of players pushing his way. And it's looking like he's going to get it, but he gets baited into the shot. So he's going to have to immediately pull back out onto the B site.
And that's where the Molotov comes in to block him off. So now they have control. They just have to flash a smoke off his position at lower. They can also just pre-fire it, and AC will get the frag. So now they have an opening onto B. This also forces the rotation from the CT side.
Not a chance for him to respond to that, sadly, with the aim punch connecting on him from the pre-fire there. So Crystal goes down, but a hope in the world. Thankfully, Nuki still has himself an op to play off of. But North is actually going to back away from this situation now.
Good mid-round call from MSL there. He knows that they forced the rotation and making so much noise, so they keep Imperial questioning themselves. Whichever site they hit, they're going to have the advantage. And they're going to set up towards Ivy. If Tensi gets his angle, if he peeks now, okay, this is a problem. He has to rotate back and hold this off. So there's no way he can peek this.
Smoke's going to go back in as he tries to hold the angle right now. Drops the bomb, and I'm sure he's called that back out, but he's not going to be able to stick around for more. Nuke, even more importantly, missing a crucial op shot to pick up an additional kill and keep Imperial evenly traded. So with that gone down, North still has a man advantage, and they're about to jump right into the B site. Missing crosses at first, but Nexa makes up for that on the second player by knocking out Valde. And all of a sudden, the 2 Ivy players have also started to move back to reposition once again. There's only 30 seconds left. North don't have a whole lot of time to change things up, but they might be able to sneak this through as they've sent the 2 players through the back halls, and I think might be trying, we'll see if they go ladder into back B. They're actually going to go down ladder to try to execute it onto A. I thought they might have tried to sneak into B.
No smokes either on the C side. This is a problem for getting that bomb down. Esperanto will be a force to be reckoned with on the left corner of this.
AZ doesn't want to fully check the old bomb tunnel either, so that's going to let Esperanto run right back out. Denies the plant. That's the end of the round right there, I think, as Kirby has no time left to plant. Timer's going to expire. And even worse, Kirby could go down post-timer if he's not careful here, but it looks like Imperial don't want to take a risk on that. They'll back away. They'll let him stay alive, but Imperial will maintain their lead.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like, I said it was a good mid-round call to switch up positions, which I still feel is correct. But the problem becomes if you get so much into the situation that you spend all your utility, all your smokes in this example, and you just like, you can't really figure out which route to go into a bomb site, and you're indecisive. That's a big problem. That's what happened this time around. They had no smokes for the plant. That leaves Esperanto's position without smoking like two spots off on the bomb side, leaves his position to be so powerful. And he gets a double frag and technically wins the round as well because no one is either checking it or smoking it off.
Once again, not a... Whoa, that was
nice.
I don't think I've ever seen it go over the angle entirely. So that was a nice little run boost there.
Like Formula 1 run boost.
He was going super speed across the gap there. So nicely done with that. At least gets them some earlier control over Ivy that hopefully North's going to be able to play off of. They haven't had the best of luck getting access to Ivy, but at the same time, Imperial hasn't been doing too good of a job of defending it either in terms of trying to pick up kills here. It's usually just been a bit of a standoff where both teams respectfully back away from each other, which is exactly what we had happen right here.
It's the same thing. And this time around, like different from that first AK buy from North, they have control of T-main. Like, they have a guy very close to T-main, and he can call for a backup if that needs to happen as well. And that's why Valde is so careful of going in there, because he knows, okay, we don't have control of this area. They could be someone behind every corner. Nuki even the secondary guy. So Nuki is actually playing the first tool. Then when he gets a kill or gets killed, he can rotate back.
Flash is going to affect him, but not affecting him enough, and this now opens the gate for Esperanto to try to multi-frag. He's only able to get one, however. Brings AZ down very low at 12 HP, and now the rest of the team can move in and try and shut down the rest of this hit. Pensky with his quick pickup, but no, all of a sudden, North's going to strike back a little bit here. AZ trying to keep the hopes alive as he brings it down to a 1v1, but again, time is going to become a problem for North. 20 seconds left to put the bomb onto the ground, and AZ at the current time doesn't have a clue where Crystal's position.
Doesn't have a smoke either, once more. Let's see. What's going to happen? Crystal missing that, what?
And that's going to open it right up now for the plant to go onto the ground. AZ's got a chance. Still going to be rough for him, considering the low HP. And I think Crystal's aware of it, too, as he walks around with his USP in hand. Wouldn't be taking a risk on that if he knew he was at 100 HP, which is obviously not the case. So we'll wrap back around, but he's waiting for him, so AZ gets the edge off there, and that missed op shot coming out from Crystal sadly ends up throwing away the round and giving it over to his opponents.
Usually Crystal actually hits those. Like, I know he's not like the perfect AWPer, and he's definitely not the preferred AWPer on the team, but he's actually, he has history with the sniper rifle, and he's not bad with it. So seeing him miss that shot in a crucial position like that that's dangerous for the rest of the coming rounds. That doesn't show a lot of first confidence and also just like stability.
So with that round being won, sadly for Imperial, it's another reset situation for them. So they're going to be thrown right back onto an eco. This time, at the very least, though, they are able to get armor behind their upgraded pistols. And Nuki, of course, getting himself a scout to try and work off of Tensky. Gets an early surprise, but a quick response. Throws a molly onto the ground and keeps the tees back for a couple of seconds. They will still lose one of their defenders in the process. The scout now goes down to the ground. And, of course, North once more get themselves an early round man advantage to work off of too.
Let's see. They pretty much have to run into like a C-set or something. Like they need to gift an advantage North right now to lose this round, I feel like. Still got 4 smokes, 2 Molotovs. Perfect for an inner's take. Rotations are coming in though for the CT side. 2 on the back line of the trains. All CT's actually rotating towards B, so this is the correct read from Imperial.
Next has got himself a close range CZ, so we'll see if he can do any damage. Mertz continuing to pick players off one by one with that off at range, though. Nexa, he's able to do one up close, but Mertz again, making sure he continues to find those perfect trades. And Tensky, well, he can't get anything. He tries to go for a quick rush up to the corner by brackets and give a hold of himself a position there behind the plywood spindle, but doesn't end up working out. So North will now take control of the game, take the lead at 4-3, and Imperial, because that was a force buy for them actually in the last round, they do have to go into a full save here.
Yeah. Esperanzo's one of these players that even though he's on the CT side, yes, they have a loss bonus, but he will always buy down to like 1600, 1500 to get that extra pistol in these rounds. Usually you might, like sometimes you might see him just go C-set small armor as well to go down to 1400 if he has like a little bit more. He's one of these players that really value the pistol so high because he knows what a difference a guy with his aim can do in these kind of rounds. If he takes down an AK with that, which is highly likely because he's so good, then he can make a big difference, and that's what he's banking for.
Found it along with a teammate here. Bomb included in the hands of MSL. We're going to try to make a quick push for Ivy control, and they relatively succeed in doing it. We're going to start to push forward now. Oh, Mertz, a nice pick as well, finding Tensky in the back lanes there. And now MSL and Kirby move in from T-Con to try and just mop things up relatively quickly. Like we said before, full save from Imperial, so weren't expecting much, but North do take the extra step and they get a relatively clean round as well. So far, no trades against them, and it's relatively unlikely that we'll have any, unless Crystal somehow makes some magic happen here with that Zeus.
Let's see. We know exactly what he's trying to do here. He's trying to just
to bait him and get close enough so he can dive.
Here comes the dive.
There you go. He's got the range. Oh, couldn't get close enough.
It was actually pretty, like, it was pretty close. He had the right idea, but yeah, it doesn't happen against North. They're going to punish that.
So North hold consistent control over the matchup. Now finally starting to get a multi-round lead. We've kind of been bouncing back and forth between both teams having a one-round lead over each other here, but now with North finally starting to take some decent control, hopefully they're going to be able to push that lead further ahead now at 5-3. But Imperial are into it with another buy. It's a bit of a scrap by the way. We can see an UMP, excuse me, on Tensky there, along with a FAMAS going on a Crystal. Utility's going to be all right. They don't necessarily get the most amazing kit across the board, but they have enough to defend the sites.
See, they're actually pushing quite aggressively in towards the speed bomb side, and there's only one player on the side right now. Nexa will be taken out. Crisp clean lock by Kirby. Nice from him, and AC now pushing the lane.
AC really just racing up to the back of the site. I'm not even sure the CT's heard it yet. No, walks right up to the back of his Esperanto. It takes him out. Yuki as well is going to be there to find a trade. Valdi getting caught off guard a little bit there by the peek from Crystal. Brings Imperial back into this game, but it might be only a temporary element though as Mertz comes in with another kill. Kirby, what was that? Tensky takes him out. And now Mertz is left alone to clutch the 1v2. The good news for him, he's got a lot of players at low HP. The bad news is he may not be aware of this, and he has the op. Ooh, he's got to deal with this soon too. Crystal.
This flank is deadly.
Already walking up right behind him. No sign of a check through his backside, so down's going to go Mertz. And that will be a nice clean retake in the 1v2 from Imperial as they get a 4th round onto the board.
Yeah, Valdi was supposed to be the one coming in with the big flank and playing the lurker role in this scenario, but he got shut down. That was a really nice reaction from one of the Imperial players. Very nice to have that situational awareness coming in that you always expect there to be a flank, and that's correct in this scenario.
So, it's looking like I think we'll have a pause potentially coming out from one of our teams. No, never mind. Diving right back into it. I was trying to judge it based on like the light that we were in the camera shot there. I was like,
always, you can always try to have that read. But yeah, AK picked up by Tensky. Interesting to see what he can do with that. Nukia with the op. They have a potential of playing a very, very stable double op setup, sometimes even triple op setup on CT side train, Imperial. So I'm looking forward to see how many more ops they're going to pick up as the economy starts rolling. Smoke will block off most of that. There might be a time. No, there's no gap in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, very nicely done.
So Tensky's going to take watch on Ivy for now, so Nuki can go back out, watch a little bit more towards T-Con, although we haven't seen a whole lot of straightforward T-Con executes from North. They've been playing the slow game more often than not. When they do use T-Con, it's more of a kind of explosion where it's not the major focus of the take.
It's the one-off round they can throw in. But they haven't really needed that so far. The rounds they've won against Imperial have been, or lost against Imperial, have been like post-plants and stuff like that. So they have done everything right up until the post-plant. And you can't really control that. That comes down to individual actions and making the right decisions in that in those clutch moments. So can't really fault them for that too much. But Imperial, they've been good at grabbing the chances when they're there. Every single time there's an opportunity, they're going to take that opportunity. And that's why they're on 4 rounds still. That's why this game is technically still close, even though it feels like North have been like granted the upper hand so far.
North seem to be winning more of the important gun rounds so far that have popped up, and that's why I think the reason they are holding the lead, especially if they can win this one out and kind of reset Imperial for a second time. And Nuki gets himself a good angle, misses the second shot, though this is what's going to get difficult for him. He's now going to be careful of players pushing out against him, gets distracted by the ladder push, and that's how he ends up going down. But Esperanto and Tensky jump in to trade those kills back. Will it be enough, though, is the question. Thankfully, Nexa will be able to contribute. Might have just gotten the last finalizing kill. We don't want to count Mertz out of it just yet. Sadly, he, too, will fall quickly as it's a team ace from the Imperial. So they pick up another round, and they tie us up once again as well.
Very nice seat to hold in general. Like every single time someone goes down or rotates away or is caught off guard, another guy rotates in and takes that refrag instantly. And that's a very good way of like getting the feeling of how Imperial are playing CT sides, especially on train. They're very focused on the refrag potential and constantly refragging and helping and revenging for your teammates. Where North is more like the structure of the CT side and rotating for each other. Not really essentially focusing on the frags. Nuki always on point with his ult. He's so dangerous. MSL answering back though.
Yep, they did miss the second player, Esperanto. Excuse me. Yeah, Esperanto. MSL, sorry. Managing to sneak his way through the short lane there to take him out. UK trying to fish for a response to it. So far hasn't come up with much. It's Crystal that'll end up knocking him out at the end of the day. However, look at this. They've left Ivy open for the push. Valde getting only 1, though, out of it, as Crystal manages to get a quick response, bringing us down to a 2v2. It's going to come to the wire, though, as both teams find trades. Crystal, I'm not sure if he realized it, but AZ already up to the bomb train as well, as he falls back and almost gives his life away. Only guaranteeing it stays in play due to the fact that AZ was not peaked at the time.
Still has to pick up the bomb. That's the problem for AZ right now. He's fearing that Crystal is in every single corner right now, which is the correct way to go about it. He has enough time to go pick it up and check every single corner while he's doing so. Crystal is low on HP, so unless AZ has his back turned to Crystal, AZ should win that duel. Look at that. They're both missing each other. It ends up with AZ winning it with not really a clear 1v1.
Yeah, it just ends up being a matter of timing, really, at the end of the day, who sees who first there. So AZ gets the, guess you call it a bit of a lucky spot, and ends up winning it as a result of that. So that will keep Team North in control of the situation, as once more they push ahead. But also, like before, it's a bit of a delicate situation, only 1 round ahead. And obviously, Imperial are going to look to upset with another force buy.
The glass cannon on Tensky, which is an interesting choice to say the least. It might be off spawn, because usually he doesn't have the AWP on their CT setups. But it doesn't really look like it. Crystal is pushing with the C-set as well. AC taken out by Crystal's C-set push. Doesn't have time to grab the AK. They're afraid of that secondary player being ready to refract, but actually there's no one there. So they could have grabbed the free AK, but they played cautiously there. They know they have a tiny advantage in manpower now. They're still behind because of the weaponry on the T side, but still.
It's a start. That's
yeah, they're going to take it.
It gives you a chance more than anything else now, and that's exactly what they need, because now they're going to be baited into going down here. North says they're going to be baited into going down here to check this out. They do have a little bit of a crossfire. It's not the best setup. It's not guaranteed to work, but it could deal some damage here. Sadly, won't work out so much this time, though. Crystal did get stuck in the back of the box hall room there. Wasn't going to be able to safely retreat because he was locked into the situation, and now Nexa leaving into combat as well. Bit of an open spot, so he's only going to be able to get 1 frag this time.
See, Esperanto from behind. Nice deagle, though. Mertz is eliminated. Can't take a secondary one right now, as Mertz, or as MSL, is ready. The flash push doesn't happen.
Did spot the second player on ramp at least, so he knows they're both here, and he connects onto another headshot as well before finally getting traded out by MSL.
They don't have a smoke. This round is won.
And there we go. Bomb.
I think due to timing, this will be won.
Bomb goes down onto the ground. That should push it pretty close, if not past the defusal point here. Is neither the CTs have kits currently either. I don't know if there's one on the ground. They do successfully take him out. Oh, Molly was gone.
This might actually be it. I think they have time here. Yeah, okay.
Pretty
My
sure
bad.
they did, yeah.
I retract the former statement. There was time.
So
it's very close.
Yeah, I mean, it's only like, what, like a second or two extra,
Yeah.
I think, at the end of it. So it's not by a whole lot, but it gives them just enough to be able to defuse the bomb. And sadly, last player there at the end from North was forced into using that Molotov before they were truly ready to, which gave the room for Imperial to come back, retake the site, and pick up another round. I think the lead for the first time in a bit as well.
Yeah, those two deagles coming in from Esperanto there, on point as always. Like, that's something that he can just do with pistols, pistol head armor, and he will be as dangerous as any fully bought up player.
Like
Boss coming in, yeah.
It's also the opening kill that we see from Crystal in the back corner too. Like we said, that gave them the chance to really open up the round, because from that point forward, it obviously allows them to more evenly trade out the situation. We see Esperanto showed up with the deagles that you just talked about there, and then from that point forward, it's just closing up the 2v1 quickly enough, especially after the molly goes down, to where MSL can't prevent the defuse. That's exactly what they do. And remember, again, that was like a force buy from Imperial, and it wasn't good. It was mainly pistols. So that's actually a pretty big round that's won by them to get them back into the game and maybe upset a little bit against North in the following rounds as well.
Here we go, 6-6 is the scoreline. Still strapped for cash on the Imperial side of things, but at least now they have armor on every single player. Missing some utility, only having 2 kits, but North's money is even worse. Yeah, 2 C-sets and an MP7.
North being put into pretty much the same exact situation that Imperial was in the last round here. The only difference being that they get a few more guns and a little bit more utility, comparatively speaking. So
we are in the new patch though, so this is the very cheap MP7 as well, because they are playing this event on the new patch. I remember Nixon or Mark Winter tweeting about that before this.
How much did it get reduced by?
It's down to 1,500 or 1,700 now. I don't remember, my bad.
Okay, so Crystal getting himself pretty solid lineup actually there. Knocks out 2 kills. The aim punch is going to mess up the rest of the spray, but Nexa's got a position here. He was hoping a second player would come out from upper to challenge him, but he's still ready to knock out MSL. That's the bomb carrier going down, and North's chances pretty much gone down the drain now too, as it's left to AZ in a 1v4 scenario with only an ump to play off of. He's got a little bit of utility, but Imperial take a team-focused approach to it. Just lock him out, prevent him from being able to pick up more than 1 kill there. And he doesn't even get a single one, so it works out well as they shut down another round. And now, for the first time in the game, they're shooting ahead with a 2-round advantage.
Looking good for Imperial so far. This CT side is proving to be very strong for them, as expected. I think the T side is where they're going to struggle a bit more, because here they can just take like refracts and like play off individual positions and just like wait for the opponent to get to them. And also, this is statistically a way better map for Imperial than it is for North. North have 47.1% win rate on this map, while Imperial are 71.9%. So it's definitely a big advantage. That's why I said earlier, like, Imperial won the veto, but I think North is going to win the game. Train is a far better map for Imperial than it is for North, and showing right now in this first half.
We do have North to the fully go. We're going to try to pretty much just go for a bit of a Hail Mary into the B-bomb site. See if they can make it happen. Next at Nuke, already just knocking them out very quickly here. And there you go. That's the end of it. Very, very fast as Imperial does secure, like I was talking about before, that 2-round advantage well under their control now at 6-8. And also entering the final round of the half, too.
Man, I didn't really catch the money there, but I feel like either now, if this is the buy, or the next buy that North is going to get, they might need to take a timeout. I feel like there's definitely in the last couple of rounds been a little bit of like stuff missing. Maybe if they lose out on this one, they'll take a timeout. So let's see how it plays out. It will be in the second half anyways, but let's see. Krieg on MSL. Mertz with the opening.
Doesn't do a whole lot, but when push comes to shove, doesn't even need that scope to be able to do any damage there. Man, just to knock one out normally. But Crystal has a better scope apparently, as he's going to be able to take him out with the op, but it doesn't last for too long. AZ is going to be able to trade him out from inside of the ladder room, leaving only one still standing, but it is Nexa, so you've got to be careful about that. He's going to look for the clutch in this 1v3 scenario. He's already got the one. He's been able to, up to this point, at least deny plant pressure as well. He's definitely got a chance at this, although he almost lost it right there. He's got a great idea about where both these players are at, though, but Mertz and AZ both shifting around a little bit too much for his taste, so he will finally get caught up by that up, and North will shut down one more at the end of the half.
Very good first half so far for Mertz, I have to say. This is like, Train is also the Opus playground, and Mertz is specifically a very aggressive Opera, so T-side suits him very well. Got a 4K in one of the rounds, and here in the last round, I think he got 3K as well. Very nice from him in general. AC also stepping up, no scopes Esperanto. Perfect for Mertz. And yeah, that seems to be the story, right? Because when you think about North, if we go back 3 months, saying that Mertz and AC would top frag, that wouldn't make any sense to anyone. But right now, in the latter stages, like in the last 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe up to a month, then that is actually the case. Like, these two players are really stepping their game up individually and silencing a lot of those players who said they didn't have the level before, and showing, okay, this is not up to the level. This is up to the roles and how we play the maps.
So guys, the second half is going to be starting just a couple of moments. Talking about the out presence as well. One player that I think had a bit of a slower start, but ended up coming back was Nuki as well, who, like I said before, had a pretty. It was basically like he was whiffing a lot of shots, especially towards Ivy at the beginning. But I think he bounced it back pretty nicely by the end of the second, or by the end of the half here, and ended up having a pretty impactful performance on the op too, and he was able to get his hands on it.
Yeah. Let's see here, second half coming in. North on the CT side of things now. MSL with the classic C-set smoke, and then Armor on everyone else.
Let's take a look at how exactly this is going to pan out now. North specifically trying to split their players up. A little bit heavy towards it, but it's still only 2 players, so it's pretty much what you expect. Valde being kept as more of a quick rotate to A if it's needed. Just hanging out right outside of Z, since these takes tend to come in relatively short notice on the pistol round for this map. But Imperial might be trying to play something a little bit more complex here. As you can see, their players are much more spread out than you might normally be used to on a T-sided pistol run for this map. They've got presence over towards Ivy, along with quite a bit of spread in the halls as well.
I think this is just a default setup to make sure that the CTs cannot push and get information. So they're going to wait here like 30, 45 seconds, and then they're going to group up and do the full armor push all in one location, or split from 2 different locations. Not like a big complex setup, but Mertz though. USP to the face.
He's going to get some good damage onto Nuki as well. He'll lose about a quarter of his health. So you might still have a challenge on it here in a second. It's Mertz along with AZ. Still will try to get out there and challenge Nuki, but he as well has not necessarily been giving them anything, and they don't want to make it too easy for him to try and pick up headshots on the Glock. Finally though, since the distraction is there at the very least, Esperanto will end up going down. So will Crystal, but Nuki manages to take down both the players pushing in from Ivy. So very well played by him, and he's going to look for more. Finds it, there's a third kill, makes it 4. Let's see if he can get the ace. Maybe not, as MSL is going to try to deny this now. It's brought down to the 1v1 to settle the opening pistol for the second half. Nuki looking for the ace, MSL looking for the denial. And more importantly, the saving kill for this round, and he almost just got it right there. Nuki was caught mid-reloading in the open. But still, he's able to successfully get it off, and now with 10 seconds left, trying to go for the plants. Oh my goodness, MSL is doing such a great job of wasting time, but not a good enough job apparently, as Nuki moves out, gets that final kill, and the ace to go along with it. And of course, gives Imperial early control in the half, as they take the pistol.
Yeah, and that's where you can like see the holes in the North CT defense. So basically, yes, they hold off with Mertz getting that first frag onto Ivy, but that also leaves like the pop dog player, which is Kirby. He's only one guy watching for 2 guys who can exit out of pop dog, and 1 guy coming out of T main. So there are holes in that CT defense when they focus so much on the Ivy because they spotted 1 guy and got a kill. So now it's going to be Mac 10s and AKs for the T side as we usually see. And nothing but pistols. 4 Deagles and 1 CZ on the CT side. But no investment behind it, no armor, no utility. Just pistols.
It's looking like Imperial are pretty much just going to go for a straightforward push into the back halls here to start things off. Whether we'll see that split off into an outer play or anything is yet to be seen, but I would say it's relatively unlikely, and more than likely just stick with this site. At the same time, though, North are expecting this too from the looks of things, whether they were able to get intel or some other nature. It's working out great for them too. Valde, Mertz, and now Kierby all stealing kills away, but Crystal, the only one to trade it back, he's now down on the ground, and Esperanto's surrounded, so out of nowhere, North pulls off a bit of an upset round there in the second as they force into it. Pull off a miracle with Deagles.
Yeah. Such a nice read as well. Like, they have 3 players on point for that inner push. They know exactly what's coming their way. And Deagle's long range, again, they have 2 AKs, yes, but 3 of those like T players are Mac 10s. They cannot challenge long range against Deagles. Very nice read for MSL and the guys with that inner stack. Deagle's working out perfectly. Just in general, hitting their shots also. And this was also now force Imperial on 4 Deagles and an AK. While North on the CT side have all the weaponry they want.
Doesn't help that their AK player loses 85 HP within the first like 10 seconds of the round, so that means he's gonna have to get chucked around. Thankfully, most do have armor, so it's pretty easy to transfer the AK to another player. In this case, Nuki is gonna be picking it up to try and play off of it. And the Deagle players will continue to kind of throw themselves at these trickier angles in hopes of finding that 1 Deag to let them into the site, but so far, Imperial have come out unsuccessfully with that, and even their attempts to lurk into the site. Esperanto right there gets caught out by Kirby.
And now MSL holding the close range angle, since he found out that T main wasn't actually entirely held. So technically, if he held the longer away angle from Pop Dog from Electric Box, he would have been able to get peeked. Because Kirby is not really holding it tight in mid. Oof, AZ though, removed.
AZ, I think, only expecting 1 player retreating, didn't realize that someone would be in a position to pretty much pre-aim to fire against him there. So bit of a calculated mistake as it cost him his life. But for now, thankfully, it's not going to be anything too negative just yet. Kirby, though, is going to be a little bit careful as he does spot the cross from Crystal. going towards the back halls. Mertz will get there quickly enough to cut that back off, but now comes the surprise. The jump outside of T-Con as they're going to try to take control of it. It works out perfectly because all the attention is on Ivy instead of short lane. Now Valde's going to try to clutch out a 1v3. Good chance to do it, mind you, as he starts it off with a quick kill on Tensky. And now he's going to lock out these last two, and they already have a good idea about where he's coming from. In fact, Nexa is in perfect prime position to counter out Valde when he finally makes the push from the old bomb tunnel.
Once more, like North, they have the man advantage. They generally have the setup. They even rotate Merge, so they're technically 4 players on this like bomb side for the CT team. But they just leave so much like map control, so much space open. Nuki can come out and like wreck MSL through the wall almost there because T main is not held. It's not held that aggressively at least. Like so they allow the T side to get so much space out towards the outer bomb side because they're so focused on winning the duel that or finishing the two-man duel that they already had going on. And it's becoming a big problem. It's becoming apparent. We saw the same thing with Imperial on their CT side. Not being able to control or T main, excuse me, and not being able to control like the open space outside towards that bomb side.
And so I'm relatively certain this is, oh my goodness,
That's nice.
Just ripping apart Nuki there. He's gonna go for more too. Well, this one's gonna be a little bit harder now if they expect him. 2 shots left, unable to get the kill, and now at 2 HP.
The bait.
That's such a good bait. AZ sitting on the back lane of Ivy, knocks out Tensky when he tries to re-peek for the trade onto Kiervy. So now not only does Kiervy stay alive, but they pick up another kill, giving North a nice little 5v3 advantage now.
Yeah, North should just play Deagles all the time, I guess.
Apparently, it's working better than rifles to a certain degree for them here. So obviously the circumstance is differing a little bit.
Yeah, just for the memes, of course.
So Imperial, I think, are still eventually going to try to push in through Ivy. Maybe just with a little bit of delay attached to it. The problem is now though is they've got a really big split between these two guys, and they're only the remaining player who's pretty much on the opposite side of the map. So Nex is not going to be able to contribute much to help these guys out, besides maybe throwing a couple nades in from his side of the site and acting as a visual distraction. Most of the actual focus will still very much be on Ivy, so it's going to be tough for these two guys to work their way out with the bomb and find a plan, especially now that they've run the timer down low, too. They had a lot of utility, or they have, I should say, a lot of utility. The slow play doesn't necessarily work out too well for them because of the limited timer. Nexa, though, saves the day once again with a spot from across the way, and Crystal knocking out Valde now puts Imperial back into a controlling situation, too. Now they bring it down to a 2v1. Mertz will look for the clutch, maybe peeked just a little bit too early, though. If he had waited a few seconds, might have been able to catch the mid-plant, but at the same time, that molly would have also gone down to the ground.
Imagine if he waited like a second more and that guy went to plant the bomb. I don't think there would be time for the other guy to pick up the bomb. So if he played with just a tiny bit more patience in that situation, he could have won the round potentially. And that's always like, of course it's easy for me to say, but that's something that players will kick themselves over when they watch the demo back and say, oh, I could just held that corner for like 1 more second and then peek, then I would have run the round. And it's one of those things that you got to keep in mind, like when you like re-watch your demos, you can get stuck in it, but you have to take it with you into the next game. Like, you have to take that into consideration. Another pause, Imperial this time again. At least the graphic says it could be a North pause, but right now it's Neil M talking on the screen, so it seems logical that Imperial are taking this time out to just make sure that, yes, we're in the lead, but we can get even further. Let's make sure we don't make mistakes now.
So they're going to dive into it. And Imperial will look to really take control of the situation now. They finally got North on to their first like real eco in a while here. It was kind of a bit of chaos at the beginning of the half. Both teams vying for control of the economy early on, but now North has finally lost 2 in a row. They've been forced into a complete reset situation. They've got this eco round in front of us here, which Imperial pretty much is, for the most part, already won, as long as they read into what should be a pretty straightforward flank coming out against the Verticon. If they don't see that, things could get a little crazy here. But let's take a look exactly.
Yeah, they heard it now.
Yeah, now they're going to see it. Nope, it's going to get himself out of the lane quickly. Esperanto is going to go for the close-up fight. Yeah, everybody's picking up kills nice and quick here, so there we go. This is an easy 12th round for Imperial.
All right, 8-12, everyone on the desk, us two on the caster's desk as well, said that North was going to take this. They're going to need not a lot of help, but they're going to need something extra so far to come out with a win here. I feel like Imperial, very structured CT side in general, their T side, not too bad as well. I wouldn't be surprised now, after seeing what I've seen so far, to see them get to at least 14-15. And then the question is, can they take the last couple of rounds home? Because that's where Imperial, like, they start to struggle a bit because they're still like a very young team. Taking the last 5% of a game, so hard mentally unless you have a lot of experience on LAN.
It's always around the same exact score lines too. It's always like right at 13, 14. You seem to hit this invisible wall. So, and I mean, there's far too many teams that we've seen have the same issue to kind of validate the theory there that it is definitely a problem for less experienced or less coordinated teams. It's just closing out, getting that last 1 or 2 gun rounds that are needed to push you over the edge and secure the match.
few rounds away from that. Imperial on a full buy. North on the same. Bit of a utility advantage on the T side, and only one kit on Mertz on that CT side. We're going to have to keep an eye on where he dies, if he dies, because then they'll need to pick up the kit.
Valde already starting us off well for North, though, as he picks up the first kill here. But he's going to be next up, and he manages to catch players off guard pretty well. But Esperanto is there for the trade at the same time, though. AZ is able to successfully defend over towards Ivy. Not only this, but MSL has now arrived. One more surprise is going to be found with Esperanto going back into the sandwich lane. So he takes out AZ, but now he's completely surrounded. Didn't even realize that he was going to have a fight that close either, as he swings around the corner without a weapon drawn, leading to his quick elimination and North's ascension to another round.
Laser focused right now, Valde, as always. One of those players that I feel like is a real role model to younger players coming up, because he takes everything so seriously. Not only his in-game practice, but also staying in shape, how he communicates with the team, and in general, just like keeping his mental game on point. He takes this very seriously. I feel like he's one of the best role models, along with maybe some of the players like, for example, a Sipnix or a Glaive on Astralis, that I would point out if you're a young player, like, this is the guy you should emulate. All the other guys on the team, of course, very nice as well, but the way that Valde just attacks everything as a professional player it's so nice.
Something to be admired, something to look forward to as well. For North, they're looking for a chance to get back into this game quickly, as they have managed to poke a hole in the defense from Imperial here. I guess the offense would probably be the better word to use. So Imperial in general has also very much slowed things down for this round. For the first time, really, I think in the entire half, not utilizing Ivy as well. They've been loving pushing Ivy throughout pretty much the entire half, and this is the first time we've seen them messing around with the back calls a lot more, along with ladder too. But it's just not working out too well. North is holding very confidently at both the ramp, as we saw the pickup from Mertz. I know MSL finding one on ladder, and oh, he's probably going to get himself at least one more here. There's the spam. That drops the bomb too, as Nexa goes down.
You go for secondary spam as well, because Tensky's low HP. One thing that I like to point out as well, look how well North are actually saving their utility for this one. Yes, MSL will probably get this frag, but like, they have 6 flashbangs left. They just spent 2 smokes and a Molotov as well. The T side didn't really have a lot of utility left when we hit 40-45 seconds.
Tensky having quite literally nowhere he can go where he's safe there, so he's going to quickly get knocked back out. That's another solid defense put up by the guys on North, as now they're finally getting their feet onto the ground and maybe getting serious about closing out this game too.
It also seems like in the rounds that North are winning, they're not really getting challenged, because if they are not spending that utility, that's because they're not being pushed back and pressured back by Imperial. So that's definitely one of the things that, if I were the coach of Imperial, I would go ahead and look at, okay, how do we push them back? How do we force them to spend this utility? Because if they're still with 6 flashbangs, a Molotov, and a smoke with 40 seconds to go, and we spent all our utility, there's definitely a mismatch there.
Let's see, as Imperial are onto that full eco now with North picking up the next 2 rounds. Getting serious about trying to get back into the game and hopefully take a more solid control of the scoreline too. Imperial pretty much having no choice on a round like this, but they are just going to have to go all in one site. Hope that the overwhelming numbers that they're throwing at it are enough to at least get a plant to bolster their next buy. But also at the same time, look at North's setup here. They've got a lot of players. At the same time, though, Train moves in and there's no pressure out of upper. So Mertz is able to do anything about that. And his molly misses, which is not going to be too good. So the plant does go down. It should still be a relatively easy retake. And in fact, it is. They only end up losing Valde throughout the course of the round. But Imperial accomplished their goal, so.
Yeah, that's the one goal you have in those rounds. Like, get that bomb down. If you get the bomb down, fine. Anything else apart from that is a bonus. Now they will have money. Get another round on the board for North. Getting ever closer to tying the game up. But this is where Imperial come in with a buy.
Neither team necessarily having a massive amount of cash, though, if I've been keeping track of it well enough in my head. I think North should be just finally starting to get to a good point now, where they're around like 5 to maybe 7K if they built with the money enough. We'll double check it when we get in game. But Imperial, I'm imagining, is still in a bit of a delicate situation here, especially with what I assume is going to be a full rebuy coming up in a sec.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be the full setup with the Molotovs on every player. We're going to have to wait and see.
I think we are going to pause as well. It's a technical pause from Imperial, guys, so we're going to look to fix whatever the issue is with them real quickly, and then dive right back into the action here. It's very close, much closer than I personally at least was expecting. I thought North was going to have this pretty handily, but as the desk had mentioned, a bit of an odd map pick. maybe coming back to bite North if they don't manage to really kind of secure things and continue with the momentum that they have going at the current moment to try and close out the game. Because right now things do favor them, but it's been very easy to see that flip back into Imperial's favor, even within this half.
You have to give kudos to whoever was mastering. I'm not sure if it's Crystal and Neil M, or if it's just Crystal, or just Neil M, like who does the veto process for them. Because the veto process for this one was done very well for Imperial. They put themselves up in probably the best chance in a best-of-1 matchup that they could have, which is Train. So very well done by them. We're back in the game, full buy. Molotovs on every single T-side player, so the money was good enough. CT side is also perfect. Everyone has a kit apart from Valde, up on Mertz.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at the format for this event, like the GSL group stage can be relatively unforgiving sometimes if you get a poor start within your first game or two. So if Imperial can show up and close this match out now, it'd be great for them. It's a bit of a chaotic round, though, as we're already jumping into it, and 3 players are dead before I even finish my first sentence into it. More than that now, as well, as Pensky is going to pick up the most recent kill against Daisy.
No one's watching.
Though, yeah. Valde's going to get a walk right up. He's not going to go for the kill just yet, as he did lose his angle before he was ready to strike, but he's providing great intel right now. Oh, Nuki was ready for him, apparently, as he peeks back out. MSL finds the trade, but he, too, is going to get knocked out a few seconds later by Tensky pushing up short. Mertz just going to dive right in. The smoke goes down. Didn't cover himself up. If he stuck that, he actually might have had a chance, but I think he still would have gotten taken down. He's going to try to wrap back around. Instead, look for the no scope. It's actually a quick scope against Nuki. Tries to go for the one on Tensky, too, but Tensky just a little bit too quick for his taste.
Yeah, Valde has to be kicking himself after that situation. I get what he's going for. In this situation, he's like, okay, he's calling the information. There's one going for the plant. I'm going to go for the T main guy, and then we can wrap around. But then he loses the duel, and then he's technically given away a free frag so that he can get information plus potentially another frag. And that's always a hard situation to read. I feel like he played it correctly, but then he really got screwed by losing that duel in the end and looked a bit silly. To be honest, the correct choice in the situation is always a hard one to make, especially with the 2020 hindsight we have on the casting desk, of course.
Obviously, we're very much not in the moment. So it's hard to judge things.
It's a very different scenario sitting in that booth.
Especially when you don't have X-Ray and all the other fixins that we have available to us on. So North, at least like we were talking about before, built up enough cash to where they have this full rebuy coming in for themselves. But this could very well be it for them, because I'm pretty sure money, if we could see the money actually for a sec on North, yeah, money is completely gone for them now. So if they drop this round, this could very well take us to the end game state, as Imperial's more than likely going to get an eco out of North in the next round, depending on how North want to play it. And then from that point forward, it's just securing one more round for North to close out. However,
it's not happening, though.
Yeah, North, they're shutting it down quite easily here, and what's become a very one-sided affair for North to once again get back into the fight.
That was such like a clean round coming up for North, and that's exactly what they needed. Imperial decided to go for like a pick up the pace, kind of push out a T main and push down towards Pop Dog kind of round. No flash, or well, not a good flashbang in this scenario because MSL is so close. So he gets that double opening, and then they can shut down the guy who comes out of T connector. And yeah, then the round is just done. This also forces Imperial onto a Deagle force buy. So they have utility, they have armor, head armor on Nuke and Tensky, but only Desert Eagles in hand. But this is not an impossible round, but it's definitely very unlikely.
It's like the other rounds, though, where especially if North stay in like the really passive positions they have right now, where they really need to get like a kill or two before they try anything super aggressive here to give themselves a chance. If they try to run into a site, they can maybe make it work on B. I would say less so now that they've got a second player rotated in from Z. But assuming that North are holding all their positions properly and whatnot, if Imperial just try to force their way in, more than likely they should get shut down pretty handily. Maybe they sneak a plant off and one trade onto the player that's close up to the bomb train.
They have the smokes as well because like they know the positions that Mertz generally likes to play with the AWP inside, so they can smoke him off. Ooh. Flashbang tries to come in, but Valde with the opening. Mertz is now holding upper. They can smoke both upper and lower. They had 2 smokes at the beginning. They're gone now, but Valde's just relentlessly pushing in, and the smokes don't work out.
It has caused some chaos in this situation, though, as now Mertz is going to be out of position slightly as well. Thankfully, he's got the rotate from MSL. He's going to be trying to hold here, but even MSL running into his own share of troubles with Nexa recently taking him down, and Mertz can't finish him off, apparently.
No
he's going to fall back for the reload. Nexa takes him out. Now it's just AZ alone, but he did have the HP advantage against Nexa at least. Let's see. Oh my god, he ran out of ammo. He's going to dive back down, trying to get himself into a safe spot. Did he see the jump up? He's seen it now, but no!
Nuka.
Can't close out as Nuka instead takes the round for Imperial and pushes them up to 14.
What a round from Nuke. That is a big balls play right there. That is impressive to say the least. In North, they just looked demolished after that round. That was surely like their round to the taking.
Absolutely.
But in the end, Imperial just snatched it away.
Like I was saying, like that should have been a relatively quick shutdown. But I almost want to say that the aggression ramp comes back to bite them because it does eventually get traded, and then they're left with only an Opper who's really devoted to watching upper, because that gave so much site control over to the Imperial, let them pretty much just rush around and take all this control, and that's when the trade just started getting chaotic, and that's when I think North kind of lost the message a bit.
Yeah. Smokes on upper, smoke on lower, once again like to block off Mertz's position, so he'll have to rotate around and pick a different one. And then getting in close with the pistols, that's what you really got to do when you have a deagle round like that. Mid-range to close duels against Ops and M4s is really want to challenge with that deagle. They used the utility to get into the side, and then they took the duel. So technically, a very well-played round from Imperial. And even though I said the smokes didn't work out, they gave them the space, so in the end, they did kind of work out.
Yeah, that's, again, it's just so weird to see North dropping that one after they started off with two like in a row as well, successful flash pushes into ramp. That does eventually get traded, and like I said, I think the amount of real estate they gave away due to trading out their player on ramp was just too much, and then they just couldn't successfully trade from inside of the site from that point forward. So Imperial, once again, have the advantage going into their direction. They've got a chance to close down the match. Now, obviously, North have had to force into the situation just to keep themselves competitive here. So they're going to have a very split-up buy. It's going to be tested pretty much immediately, too. Here comes Imperial diving into the site. Let's see how well they can take it.
MSL might get wrapped now, and he will get taken out. Actually, it's Nuke get taken out Esperanto, and then Esperanto taken out MSL, but Frash left, right, and center. Tensky answering back.
North, for now, will hold the man advantage, but the plant is going to go down on the ground. North hunting for anything they can use, but Nukia and Tensky, both are just gifted kills since North tries to get so aggressive on their retake. It's left it all in the hands of Mertz now. At the very least, the smoke works out to bait Tensky into the open. Now in the 1v1, Nukia can play incredibly passively. Knows he's got Mertz somewhere close to his left, right around the corner. Can hear the jumping, sees the nade usage, knows he's on it, and immediately lines up the deagle to get a quick headshot to close out the round. And of course, put them on map and match point.
I was talking to Neil M last night, and he was saying, I really want this win tomorrow. I feel like this is going to be a very hard situation. This is going to be one of the harder matches, but I really want this win. And it looked like on the screen right there before, he's looking pretty happy right now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's all the reasons to be. It's worked out so well for them. They've capitalized on mistakes from North in addition to their own successes so far in this game. So it's definitely been a very good one overall for Imperial. And of course, North using just now, interestingly enough, their first tactical pause of the game.
This is where Ave comes in and gives feedback to the players and kind of tells them, okay, this is how you need to rotate around. These are the holes that are being left open right now in the system, and this is how they're exploiting them. That's the kind of impact a coach can have in these kind of small timeouts. Okay, give 1 or 2 or 3 small fixes of what you need to do differently. There's not really any time to change your playstyle. You can just apply these small like band-aids, but if the gaping wounds are too big, then the band-aids won't be enough to fix, and that's what I'm fearing right now. I'm fearing that there are too many problems in the North defense in order to Ave to actually do something about it, but let's see.
North's going to try to get a little bit more aggressive since obviously they're just forcing into it, and that control coming out from Imperial. That's pretty much it right there. 4 kills, we can't even keep up with it, it's so quick. And the last one soon to follow it from Nexa. 16-12 is going to be our final score as we start off the next stop of the DreamHack with an upset once again. The Imperial take it over North and take control of the best of 1.
If I'm not mistaken, these two teams played at Tour as well, where North just destroyed Imperial. This time around, Imperial, they have more prac time with them. They go into a veto process, they get the map they want as well, and they show the true level that they can bring on a LAN stage. I'm very happy for them. Of course, commiserations to North. They have to bring this back to the drawing board, because this was far away from the level they want to be at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when it comes down to Imperial, though, very big congratulations to them, and we're going to be seeing them later playing in those winter matches. They look to try and get an early qualification going for themselves. It does look like, though, we've got the analyst desk ready to go to break down this game, so we'll let Paula take it away. Go ahead, Paula.
Yeah. About that, all 5 of us, absolutely incorrect with our predictions, but I think Imperial came out there with a game plan, maybe quite a bit to do with the veto, and then when it came down to executing on the map, when it was crucial, it went in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, even though we all predicted North, like, all of us kind of caught on when we saw the veto process. When Train came through, it's like, okay, maybe you've cracked open the window a little bit for Imperial here, just because it's only recently been a map North's really started playing a lot, and it's probably Imperial's best map. And I think it was dangerous to leave it on the table from North's perspective, and now we just see how dangerous it was with that result.
But Jacob, there were definitely some points there that North failed to capitalize on. Surely some of those rounds that were super messy and tight, especially nearing the close of the match, should have been theirs.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in the areas where you normally would expect North to be the far better team in those tight clutch situations, as you mentioned. You know, in a 3 versus 3 scenario, in a 2 versus 2, you want the North guys to step up and show that they actually have the communication and the team play in order, which we didn't see. That combined with a lot of sloppy duels. It was basically one of those games where it went back and forth because both of the teams were not really playing too well. This was not a beautiful Counter-Strike game. This was more like a messy one where Imperial...
Very messy.
Yeah, there was a lot of missed opportunities. One of them was Valda missing a chance for a second kill, hiding behind the barrel. That was a big one.
They were on before that. AC and Merch messed up an antique round, you know, by missing 20 USP shots combined. So
they had like a 3-on-2 retake that they wound up losing. So it was just those late rounds, because it's a very scrappy game. You know, I think in the first half you only saw like maybe each team only win a couple of rounds in a row. No one really got a big streak going, and a lot of it was North winning the chaotic situations, winning those clutch moments. Even when rounds where Imperial had like a man advantage, North would still wind up winning. But when you get into the second half, like the last 3 or 4 rounds of the game is when North kind of dropped the ball in a couple of clutch situations where they had advantage and they should have probably won and tied up that game at a couple of points, but missed a couple of shots.
Let's get the perspective from one of the players on Imperial. He goes by the name of Nexa. And sir, you averaged, I think it was 98.8 ADR. That's a fantastic performance.
Thank you. I think there was a lot of rounds when I would just dink a guy, but I was unable to finish him. So yeah, I think that's where the ADR comes from. Yeah,
and so give us a rundown from your perspective about what happened in the veto.
We obviously had the game plan. We knew the maps were going to be either Inferno or Train, and we were ready for both of them, as you could see.
Okay, and what do you mean when you say you were ready? Was it for North specifically, or just that you guys have been practicing those maps?
Both. We were ready. We anti-stratted all of the things that North do, and we played a lot of Train ourselves.
All right, and at this point in your team's journey, so to speak, where would you say you guys are at in terms of potential?
I think we're just starting to show what we're capable of, and I think it's only going to get higher from now on.
All right, Jacob, Dust?
Yeah, I'm super interested in hearing about the pickup in terms of Crystal now that he's come in being your in-game leader. How is he doing, and is like, what is the big difference between him and having a Cillian on the team?
I think the difference is that he brings a lot of structure to a team, like to the team, because before with Cillian we were just playing loosely and just pug style and hoping that our aim would prevail over the opponents, which when you get to like a certain level is not possible. It's not possible to beat like top tier teams without having like structure and playing slow and stuff like that. So that's why I think we needed to change our leader and get someone like who's more of a tactician, I would say.
Interesting.
Yeah, one of my questions is like throughout the game it was very scrappy, right? There was a lot of rounds that were very chaotic, and there was a lot of points where it seemed like no one was really winning a lot of rounds in a row. What do you think was like the key adjustment or change you made in the second half to wind up closing out the win?
I think the key adjustment was just us going towards B. I think we found out that B was their weak point. We kind of knew what setups they like to use because we anti-stratted them, and as soon as we started going B, we started just winning rounds on T side.
All right, well, next final question then. Is it extra tasty to have avenged the loss against them in best of 1 on Dust 2 at DreamHack Tour? And secondly, where do you see yourselves placing in this tournament?
Well, first off, yeah, it's very tasty to get our revenge for, you can say, choking the map at the first at the DreamHack Tours. And I think top 4 finish for us here would be pretty amazing.
All right, aiming high, we like the confidence, and that was definitely a good showing to start things off. Maybe we'll chat to you later.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that was definitely an exciting way to start things off today here in Sweden. Any final closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly super disappointed in North this showing. I mean, it is the first group stage match. It is the best of 1, and they're known for being sometimes, you know, starting out the tournaments a little bit loose, you would say. So I still have hope in them, and they still have a few best of 3s now to go through in the group stage. But overall, it's one of those scenarios where you feel like North are trying to redeem themselves. They're on an upward trajectory, and all of a sudden they just boom down to the ground again and have to start all over. So it annoys me because I feel North is a team that should be, you know, cruising over a match like this. They should be prepared for Imperial. They should be able to dominate a game like this, despite of how Imperial prepare for them. They're just so much better in every single area of the game, but they're not able to show it in the game, and that's that gotta be a worrying sign because it's a trend that keeps on going with North right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say final note, it's cool to see some of these like young players from Lithuania, like another country that isn't really highly represented in Counter-Strike. I think like Kvik on QBF is like another player. So, okay. Fair enough. But no, it's cool to see them perform well. So props to them, and hopefully they'll keep it up.
All right, well, only time will tell. We'll see them again later today, playing against either a Go or Red Reserve. But up next, we have Renegades versus Complexity. And we just saw the Complexity guys walking by, looking rather mean and prepared. So we'll have to see what they have in store for us very shortly. Firstly, let me remind you guys to check out the Strafe Esports app. Bunch of news, content, and stats there for you to get stuck into. Now, let's head to a break, and we'll be back very shortly with our next match.
Place your bets at GG.